We have 4 yeses, the motion passes, and 1 no vote. Okay, I will open the public hearing for this case. As a reminder for the board, staff will present, followed by the applicant. At the conclusion of each of those presentations, we will ask any questions that we have. Once all questions have been asked, the public will have their turn to speak on the case. We will start with members of the public attending in person before moving on to those attending virtually. With that, I will ask Planner Nathan Chavez to please announce this case.
In case AV 25-0003, the property owners Eleanor and George Bland are requesting a variance to reduce the 5-foot attached carport side yard setback to a 3-foot side yard setback, a 2-foot reduction for a proposed attached carport. The .21 acre property is zoned R1 single family detached residential. So good evening, Chair, Board, and Councilmember Douglas. It's nice to see you all again. As just stated, the applicant is seeking a variance from the accessory structure side yard setback standards for a proposed attached carport from a 5-foot setback requirement to a 3-foot setback requirement, a 2-foot reduction. The property where my cursor currently is, this red dot, is zoned R1 single family detached residential and is within the central neighborhoods character area within the 2045 comprehensive plan. This is an aerial of the site from March 3rd of 2025. The property is located where my cursor currently is and where this red rectangle is, and I'll get to that in one moment. A little history on the site. The original home was built in 1955, shortly after the founding of Commerce City. And the attached garage, where my cursor is again as well, was built between 1956 and 1963. The owners, the Blands, purchased the property in 1968. So this is a photo of the residence facing north, taken on July 28th of this year. It's important to note that the garage is only 3 feet from the existing property line on the western side to the west. And this is due to the fact that one of the initial Commerce City zoning codes required only a 3-foot side yard setback for accessory structures. And that's just important to note as we move on through this case. So via a submitted building permit, which is still under review, the carport is to line up or be flush with the existing garage. And a strict adherence to the 5-foot setback, which is currently required, would push any support beams 2 feet into the driveway, obstructing drivers' ability to enter and exit the garage and vehicles. And in addition, architecturally and aesthetically, it would look a little funky having the proposed attached carport not necessarily flush with the garage. And so the image on the right is the current proposed site plan with the brown where the cursor is the red laser pointer, the attached carport, and then the image on the left shows roughly the 3-foot compared to 5-foot setback and where those support beams would be for the attached garage. So as of today, staff has only received 5 public comment items, all of which are in favor for this proposed variance. 4 of the comments are within the packet that went out last week, and then 1 was distributed to the board prior to this hearing, and it should be on your desk in front of you. So through the review process, staff has found that the application meets the approval criteria for a variance. Specifically, the juxtaposition between the 1950s accessory structure standards of a 3-foot setback and today's 5-foot setback requirement create a situation where strict compliance of the LDC or Land Development Code will deprive the owners of privileges enjoyed by an R1 zone property. The hardship is not self-imposed because the owners purchased the property in 1968 after the garage, which met the zoning standards at the time, was constructed. All the review agencies for this application found that there are no adverse effects in allowing the carport to be 2 feet closer to the property, and a firewall will not be required, meaning the variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property owners. And lastly, an attached carport is allowed for this land use. The applicants are just asking for a structure to be 2 feet, the applicants are just asking for the structure to be 2 feet closer to the property line. Approval of the variance will not change the character of the district because An attached carport is an allowed use within this district, and there are multiple carports in this neighborhood and throughout the core city where this is located. And so, lastly, staff has noted the following items for consideration by the board. The variance is for a 2-foot accessory structure, side yard setback reduction from 5 feet to 3 feet. Review of the requested variance for the patio cover, or the attached carport revealed limited impacts to surrounding properties. The structure will also be reviewed for more technical aspects during the building permit process. The application was reviewed by all relevant development review team agencies, and there are no outstanding comments and concerns. The application meets the variance approval criteria. And finally, the Planning Division recommends approval of AV 25-0003. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you for the presentation. All right, are there any questions for staff from the board? All right, looks like there are no questions. I will now invite the applicant forward to address the board. If you would please come up to the podium, state your first and last name and address.
Thank you. Hello, my name is actually Sandra Isgar. I'm the daughter of George and Eleanor Bland. So my address is different. I live at 741 Beth Avenue in Fort Lupton, Colorado, but I grew up at this address all of my life and attended Adams City High School. So I was born in 65, so I have lived there basically my entire life until I married my husband. My parents are now elderly. This carport is needed at this time. When my mother we were young, my mother stayed home, and so we built a room in the back of our garage for her to make drapes so that she could be a stay-at-home mom. So that is why the car will not fit into the garage. So people have asked why the car will not fit in the garage, some of the neighbors, and that is why. We would have to totally demolish that room back there, which would be quite an undertaking at this point. To be able to do that. But we did that so she could be a stay-at-home mom and raise her 3 children in that home. So they are elderly. My father now is in a wheelchair, sometimes uses a walker. They both use walkers. We have a ramp on the front door for them to get in and out of the house. And with the carport, with my husband and I living in Fort Lupton, which is a little bit of a drive, we have no family close by. If there's a snowstorm, for them to get in and out of the house, we have to worry. With at least the carport there, it's going to help aid in them getting around. It's going to cover that doorway. It's going to make it easier for them to get around. We're not going to have to worry about them getting in and out of their car. It's a permanent structure. You don't have to worry about it blowing over. It is very well put together, well thought. My parents do nothing half done. Trust me. If you drive by the house, you will see that. The sunroom they put on the front, the porch they put on the back, all of it is very well done with the best materials. So it's just a very much needed carport. Guys, if anybody in the neighborhood needed it, they definitely do. So that's all I can tell you. If you have any questions for me.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions by the board for the applicant? Okay, it appears that there are no questions. Do any members of the public wish to provide comment on this case? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind approaching the podium, and if you could give your first and last name as well as address.
My name is Joy Bishop. I live at 6550 East 76th Place. This is basically a request for a handicapped accommodation. And if you look at the Americans with Disabilities Act from clear back in the 1990s, they really shouldn't have had to even come in here for a hearing. This should have been administratively approved when they got the request. And I can't believe that the city has put these two elderly people through what they have put them through just to put a carport up. This man needs to be able to get in and out of his car and get out to his car in his wheelchair without going through 2 feet of snow. It makes perfect sense to put a carport in there. And I don't understand why the city is digging in their heels on this. He needs this carport. It's a handicapped accommodation, period.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone attending virtually tonight that wishes to speak?
There's not.
Thank you. Since we don't have any public comments to respond to, I'll go ahead and move on to closing this public meeting or this public hearing for this case. Is there any discussion from the board before we do so? No discussion? Great, thank you. Can I get a motion for this case?
I would like to make a motion, please. I would like to make, I move to approve that the Board of Adjustment enter a finding that the requested variance for the property located at 5741 East 65th Way, contained in case AV 25-0003, meets the criteria for the Land Development Code, and based upon such findings, approve the variance.
I'll second.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Douglas and a second by Board Member Poe. Is there any discussion? No discussion? Okay, please open the electronic voting. Okay, with one absent, we've got 4 yeses. The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll discuss the changes to the rules of procedures. I will ask the Senior Assistant City Council Attorney Elliot Schaefer to introduce this item.
Yes, good evening, Board. This item is the proposed revisions to the Zoning Board of Adjustment Rules of Procedure. It's a continuation of the conversation that we had during our last meeting. In the packets that were provided to you last week, there was a redlined version of the rules of procedure as well as a clean version. The redline version is substantially similar to what was previously discussed. I think the changes that were made between the two meetings, one was to reinstate the beginning of meeting time from, it had been struck from 6 o'clock to 5:30, so it was reverted back to the original procedure language. In section D4, where it discusses the meeting times, the board had expressed a desire to not have any new agenda items being considered after 10 p.m. So that was added to the rules of procedure, and I added a provision that they could be extended. New agenda items could be heard after 10 p.m. if there was a motion approved by 4 members of the board. And the reason for 4 members of the board was that is typically what is required to approve a variance and other matters. So I just thought it was important to have the number of people required to approve an action also approve the extension of a meeting. Then the other, I guess, larger item that was discussed was in section F3, K and L. It's Councilmember Fry who had mentioned that he wanted to have some language in there about allowing the board to discuss a matter after the close of a hearing, but prior to a motion being made. So section K and L were just slightly revised to accommodate that request. So that the rules are clear that after a hearing, the board can either discuss the matter or make a motion, and then after the motion, you can debate and get further into expressing your opinions and really drilling down on the rationale for your decision and your positions based on the record. Those were I guess the other larger revisions that were made was just striking the land development code sections that Councilmember Fry had asked as well. And other than that, it is substantially similar to what was previously provided. So happy to answer any questions that the board may have. And if the board feels that the rules of procedure are in a good place, there could be a motion to approve them, the amended version.
We lost our quorum. So do they have to wait till next month? Without a quorum?
Yeah.
Because Councilmember Douglas left.
Yep, so we have 3 here now, so we lost our quorum. So we can discuss the rules if any of the 3 members here have a have any questions or comments?
Lisa, we're starting at 6 o'clock now. Is that what's going to be?
Yes.
Thank you.
No, I think that you addressed all the comments that the board had from my point of view. And I appreciate you putting in the caveat that you can extend the meeting beyond 10 o'clock with a quorum of 4 votes, because as I mentioned last time, people put a lot of energy and they have to come up here, and we want to be respectful of their time, and I'd hate for them to be here till 10 o'clock and their case not get to, and it may be the last one, and it gives us the option to extend the meeting so that they can be heard.
I think part of the thing that pertains to those meetings, we've had very few that really went past 10 o'clock. It's the number of cases that we hear on any given night that needs to be regulated so we don't have to get to that problem. Yeah. That would be my opinion of it. We should only hear so many cases unless they're extremely similar cases. We should be limited to some reasonable number of cases in a given night. I think the longest meeting we ever went was time to change, and that went well past midnight.
Well past midnight?
Well past midnight, yes. I can't really remember too many of them going much later than 10 ever. That's all I've got
Okay.
to say about it.
Yeah, I think staff certainly balances, I mean, they look at the cases that are pending for the Board of Adjustments and certainly makes a decision to balance when things are ready to be brought forward. Yeah, I think what I had heard last time was to make the rules so no new agenda item would start after 10 o'clock rather than an express limit on the number of cases before the board on any single agenda. But if there's a desire to change that, to have that discussion, I think that would be within the board's purview if you want to make any changes to the rules of procedure.
No, I think probably everybody's okay with it.
Okay.
There has been a few times when we've had maybe 5 cases in one night. To me, they could have been divided between 2 meetings in some instances, I felt. Rather than pile them all in one night just to get it done or whatever the plan was. But I think they should be more even the number of cases. And I don't think we're seeing that many coming forward right now anyhow. So it's probably okay the way it is. We've got the 10 o'clock option, and we don't want to be here past our bedtimes. Thank you.
That's already past my bedtime, so.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready.
And I'd just like to echo what Board Member Poe said. Thank you for getting those changes made for us and for taking all that into consideration. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll bring them back next meeting for formal adoption.
Perfect, sounds great. All right, is there any other board business to discuss at this time? I would just like to ask, is there not going to be a meeting in October due to lack of quorum?
Right, we don't have a quorum for your October meeting because it falls when folks are out of town. So your next regular meeting would be Veterans Day, so it needs to move to the Wednesday, the 12th, the day after Veterans Day, since it falls on a holiday. So we wanted to, I think Nick already sent you an email to pull your attendance for that meeting. So November 12th will be your next meeting.
Okay, I didn't realize it was Veterans Day. I didn't catch that part in the email, so thanks for saying
Yeah,
that. Thank you.
Tuesday is Veterans Day.
Perfect.
So we have to move it to Wednesday if that works okay for people.
Yep.
And then your last meeting of the year would be December 9th, which is a Tuesday.
Perfect. And we have cases anticipated for,
Yes, we have cases already that would have gone to October, but without the quorum, they'll have to push out till November.
okay,
So we anticipate more cases for December.
great. Thank you. Any other board business to discuss? No. All right, we'll go ahead and move on. Is there any attorney business to discuss at this time?
No attorney business.
Thank you. Is there any staff business to discuss at this time?
We were just going to talk about the agendas, and we just covered
okay.
that, so that's fine.
Perfect. All right. Let's see. The time is now 6:24 PM and the regular meeting is adjourned.
Short and simple. That's the way government should be, right?
I'm not sure, I guess Chris